The following clip is presented to you by The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, available every Friday wherever you get your podcasts and at extremehardy.com. Unfortunately, it's not meant to be. You lose to him in the quarterfinals. He gets a bye to the finals after Kurt Angle can't compete, and he defeats Bobby Lashley to become King Booker. He establishes...
To use another Booker line, he said, couldn't have happened to a better guy. So there was a guy who had a bunch of heat who Booker wasn't a big fan of anyway, and he was out on the apron, and he slipped off and fell down and busted his ass and made a fool of himself. And I remember Booker was watching him monitor and just turned around with a big smile and said, couldn't have happened to a better guy. That's a line that is hit very often. That's a Booker T-ism. Getting those in. So are you keeping up with them all this week so far? We've got, they're everywhere. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. And then also, shit, they don't look like wrestlers. They look like the Flying Melindas.
Can you give us a little insight as to who that might have been that he was referring to, or is that meant for the? I'm
gonna leave that up to your imagination.
Okay. Right.
I like how I say it in Jeff's way. Your imagination, as opposed to your imagination.
Okay, sounds good. So
does it make you mad? Does it make you mad, John? Well, if it does, give me the heat. I want it.
I know I'll get you to tell me off air anyway, so it's fun. But so he establishes a royal court with Queen Charmel, Sir Regal, and Sir Finlay. He's talking with a British accent, except that this is the best part of it, that when he gets really pissed off, he becomes the old Booker T again, and then he snaps right back into being prestigious and royal. What do you think of the presentation here of Booker T as King Booker?
Oh, I loved it. I love the voice. My favorite thing, who is this rogue? Who is this rogue? That was my favorite King Booker line of all of his lines. Yeah, I enjoyed the shit out of all that when Booker was doing it. Super entertaining, super fun, I thought.
Well, because when people do the King of the Ring gimmick, to me, it can have like turn off the TV heat because it can be really stupid. But there was something charming about Booker doing this. Maybe just because it's such a juxtaposition of who he actually is, that he's doing this over-the-top British character. What do you attribute the success of it to?
It's a British hood character. I love it. Depending on his level of anger. I don't know. I mean, I would imagine, and I don't know this is factual information. The Booker's like, well, kings back in the day, especially were kings in Europe, and they would speak. There's a king in Britain, in England. They would probably talk British. Maybe I'll talk like that, and I'll really exaggerate it and like be outrageous with it. And I would imagine that's almost where it started from. Probably.
Yeah. It was so bizarre for him, but it worked so perfectly. What did you think of including Charmel in the package?
I thought that was great too. I thought that worked really well. I love that moment I have at WrestleMania where we're in a Money in the Bank match and Booker's going up and he's about to win and like Charmel comes in to grab me or stop me from doing it. And I turn around and I have her in a twist of fate. I said, if you don't come down right now, I'm going to drop her, Booker. I'm going to drop her. I'm going to drop her. And he's just so torn, like he's right there by the briefcase. I guess I'm going to save my wife. Then I kick him and drop his ass. That was a real fun moment in that match.
It is good. She was great as an accomplice to him. I really like that, and I think it starts to make an impression on Vince McMahon here. How did Vince start coming around to the King Booker character?
I mean, that's right up Vince's alley. Entertaining, over the top, outrageous, half-ass absurd. But like whenever he needs to like turn it up and get serious, he can. I mean that's a tailor-made character for Vince, and that's what he's all about. So I'm sure he dug it.
Well, so much so that at the Great American Bash, Booker defeats Rey Mysterio to become World Heavyweight Champion. Mm-hmm. And he's the first ever 100% Black World Champion in WWE. It took for Booker to reinvent as this super over-the-top character to get the call. Everyone knew he had the talent, but it took him stepping as far away from his authentic self to become world champion. And I think when you contrast that to the conversation we just had, I don't know, Matt, kind of makes you think a little bit, doesn't it, about Vince's perception of things and just how the pecking order worked at the time?
Yeah, and it also, I think it also speaks volumes about how now it seems like a professional wrestling character that Vince can get behind. I mean, I could see Vince telling Booker, "Hell, this is some of the best character work you've ever done. Some of the best character work you've ever done." You know, and it fit. You know, it fit perfectly in Vince's mind as what he wanted from Booker at that time. You know, when he started doing it. So I feel like that's once again, if Vince feels like you're doing work that he loves, that he has a hand in creating, then I mean that's the way to his heart. That's the way to a push. That's the way to gaining success and money. Via Vince McMahon. So I think it just worked out for him. It was perfect timing, and Booker took an opportunity and a situation, and he made the most of it, and he made it work.